Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to have you with me tonight. We are actually in session four um, of the seven nemesis that arise from within. And tonight, believe it or not, actually marks the halfway point. And so time is really moving along. So I'm going to move right to our just a few protocols that I want to mention to you. And so we'll move into that, okay? Our purpose again is not to just give you something to think about or to give you an education. It is to give you strategies that will help you to mitigate those things that so easily bind us up and can keep us away from what's really important in our lives. And so I want you to be able to take notes. I know that interaction is important. If you have questions, we want to hear from you on that as well, or comments or even thoughts. For your information, the show is recorded. It is available on my YouTube channel. It's also available on my Roger C. Kelly Senior Author page and on my Facebook page. And so you can go back and listen to the show. I'm going to leave them posted for quite a while. Okay. And that is if you're late or you can't make it, you can always go back and review it. Your questions, you can actually enter them into the chat, the comment section here. Actually, just so you know, what I do is I monitor comments even after the show is gone off. So if you're watching later and you have a question or thought, enter it in. I'll go back and get it, find it, and then we can actually deal with that. Okay, we're not going to have a panel that would have been tonight because I don't really have any questions. So we're going to roll along unless I get some things that let me know that maybe you're caught or you're stuck. Then we'll stop and deal with that because it's important that you follow along with me. The downloads are available on. I would normally download a session 24 hours before the session. So since yesterday, tonight's session has already been downloaded. And also sessions 1, 2, and 3, all of those are on the website. If you go, in fact, what I'll do is I'll put the website up, which is the easiest thing to do. If you go to the website there, it's on the ticker. Then if you go to the page, there's a page on the website called the Seven Nemesis resource page. Go to that page, scroll to the bottom. All the lessons are available. It takes a half second to load it to your phone or whatever it is. Print it off if you like to do it. I'm going to leave those again on the website for some time to give you time to go back and listen and pull the notes because that's really, really important. I also need to mention to you that all of the material is taken from the book that I'll mention a little bit later on the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity, which is a book about well-being. And it's not necessarily a psychological book. It's not necessarily a spiritual book, although it touches those elements because they are necessary to your well-being. It is a guide to really help you to uh, navigate successfully where we are right now. By the way, when I wrote this, we didn't know there would be any such thing as a pandemic. It's a big topic now. And so I just think that the writing is in due season. And so it's available to you. All of this is taken from that. You want to know more, you want detail, then you can go and download the book on the store page. And I'm going to say more about that later. Very quickly, let's touch the overview. I gave you a solutions key on the first night, if you remember that. The solutions key dealt with how we resolve all of these issues. I told you that up front, and it's there in writing for your review. We talked about what you need to do and why that works. It would not be a bad idea to go back and review even the previous messages, because you will hear in those sessions, maybe when you listen again, you'll hear more. We also covered fear, which is a big one. We covered pride. Tonight, we're going to talk about craving, a word that we don't use a lot now, but there's a reason I selected it. I'll tell you why in just a moment. Next week, we're going to cover worry. We're going to deal with anger. We're going to deal with hatred, and we're going to finish up with resentment. And as a matter of fact, the things that I have here are the very things that's tearing our country apart right now. And so I think that is all very interesting. And so tonight we're going to begin our session. We're going to talk about craving. And let me just send you out a greeting. Let's see. I can't do two things at once, so bear with me for a second. Okay, and that'll probably appear. I'm broadcasting across two or three formats tonight, so it may not appear across all of them, but welcome is what I said. Okay. All right, let's talk about craving. Here we go. Craving is very, very interesting. And as a side note, this may not be in your notes, but you can add this in. Craving partners closely with unhappiness. In fact, they go hand in hand. When the nemesis of craving is dominating in your life, you are a very, very unhappy person. And I'm going to explain why as we go. They both go hand in hand. Now, also, let me just mention this, and this may not be in your notes because often I go back and review and do some other thinking and studying before the show. So I'll add a couple of things, but by and large, you do have everything. The word craving could also be interchanged with desire. Desire. And desire is more associated with both positive and negative uses. Craving is usually used with negative, but you can properly use craving with positive terms. Now, let me say this as a caveat on the front end. As human beings, we are moved by our desire. We live because of our desire. It is desire that makes us want to succeed. It is desire that causes us to want to have a family. It is desire. So desire is a natural thing. It is design and even craving. They're such close words. So you can crave success. Okay, you can crave a mate and marriage. We could properly say that and it not necessarily be harmful. So we really live by desire. In fact, I think one of the most critical issues of life, and I'm not sure we're really taught this, we're taught about right behavior, but not necessarily desire management. What do we do with our desires that can be triggered in so many ways? Well, when desire is really craving, as I'm referencing tonight, it becomes something that can take your life right off course and keep you off course for a lifetime. and so many spend a life that way. So I want to be very clear tonight. I want you to get this. This is going to be very, very important as we move along. Okay, so it could go along. It could be interchanged with desire. Let's look at some definitions. Now, the definition, I don't have a reference on your notes, but the definition here is what I got from some of dictionary sources. And the first one I thought was kind of funny because what it says is to crave something is to have a great desire for it. There's that word desire, great desire. As one might crave love, fame, then it says, or French fries. I thought, hmm, that's kind of different, but it was in the same category. So I guess you could crave French fries. All right. I don't know how big of a nemesis that would be, but French fries aren't bad anyway. Just saying. Okay, so craving is to have a great desire for something. Okay. Now, uh, also, it can mean this: an intense, urgent, or abnormal desire or longing. Now we start to get into some of the nuances of what craving means and why it can be so dangerous, and why I want you to listen carefully. I want you to lean in tonight, because the lesson that I'm going to give you is going to be of utmost importance and can help you now with many things you may be dealing with. But it's an intense, urgent, or abnormal desire or longing, something that we consider outside of the boundaries of normal. Some people crave fame, or craving can also go along with pride. They can crave attention. Okay. And also, then it means, and this is in your notes, so it's no secret, it means to require, to need, or to beg. Okay. So it's craving is when you want something so desperately and you want it really bad, and you so much so that you are compelled to do almost anything for it. Okay, so that's the definition of craving. It is a strong desire that is often um, towards something that may not be healthy for you. Well, you know how we do it. I have my own dictionary, so now we're going to look at Roger's definition, and and then we're going to discuss, get a little bit further into this. I will tell you that flaming desires have shipwrecked many lives from the inside out. And that is a fact. That is a fact. Okay, here's my definition. To crave something is means this. It means to desire something, someone, or conditions with, now here's my caveat in my definition, with a misappropriation of its true value. It is to desire something, to desire someone. Desiring someone is not wrong, okay? Depending on who it is and what the conditions are, both of your lives, okay? Or conditions with a misappropriation of its true value. So what makes craving different and what makes it also dangerous is this. When you crave something, you ascribe a value to it that's not there. And so it makes you, um, it creates expectations. Let me say it that way, that if I get this, if I get her, or if I can get him, or if I can get these circumstances, then my life is going to be this or that. It's a misappropriation. That's what makes craving dangerous. Okay. It's a misappropriation of value. Let me give you let me say a couple of things here. If, for instance, marriage is a good thing, having a spouse or mate is really a good thing. However, if you misappropriate the value to your mate, or you think your mate has the power to make you happy, and she thinks you have the power to make her happy, you both have just set yourselves up for major, major disappointment. You can share happiness, but you can't make anybody happy. Your happiness has to be self generated. And so many people enter into a relationship. I mean, we're bad about this. And when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, baby, I can't live without you. I don't know what I'm going to do. We just went on and on with those songs. Our singers continue to sing the blues in that way, as though when we got the right person, she would be everything and everything would be okay. Again, that is a misappropriation of intrinsic value. Don't set yourself up for a disappointment. Hopefully, if you're not married, you will get this straight before you get on, you take a knee and ask for somebody's hand. If you are married, then you can work through this and release each other and set each other free from the bondage of being a slave to your happiness. That it just doesn't, it doesn't work that way. Okay. So it is to desire something, someone, um, or conditions with a misappropriation of its true value. Okay, hear what I'm saying. And that doesn't diminish the importance of someone or something, but what it does is puts it in a proper context so you can properly relate to people, to things, to money, whatever it is. That's the thing that's important. Okay, let me go further in my definition. Very often, the definition of happiness is ascribed um, to these things, which often lead to misery. And I think I alluded to that earlier. So, what I'm saying is that if I get a raise of $10,000, that's going to make me happy. No, what usually happens is the more money we make, the more we spend. And so expenses, Parkinson's law, I guess, says um, expenses rises or yeah, to meet income. It often happens. So if you think intrinsically, now it may make you happier, it may make things easier for a while if you were a multimillionaire. But intrinsically, that doesn't. There's a guy that won the lottery, millions, and they found him dead 6 months later. I don't know what happened, but whatever lifestyle he went into, they right in Winter Haven. It was all over the local news. Found him dead. Okay, in his own new house that he bought with his millions of dollars. Okay, so happiness is often described to these things, which often lead to misery. So if you want to try to if you misappropriate value, you think something's going to make you happy, and then you get it and it doesn't, then it brings you to misery. And this is what craving does. This is often what craving does. Now, let me say this also, and I'm going to try not to repeat myself as I go through my notes, but this is very important. I want you to notate this as well, okay, just in the definition. Sometimes if you define a word right, that gives you the right understanding in dealing with it, okay? Craving brings into play another companion word. Not only does craving also is can it be associated with unhappiness? There's a third compadre with this as well, and it is desperation. Craving brings into play another companion word, that is desperation. How do I say this? If I really want something bad, and I believe that if I don't have this thing or this person, then my happiness is out the window. My success is out the window. My fulfillment is out the window. If I really believe that, then what happens is in my quest to acquire, I move into a point of desperation. So then I become desperate. Okay. Now, desperation, I have this maybe in parentheses, this may not be in your notes, so you can notate this if you like. Desperation causes your most noble goals to run from you. In the law of attraction, as you move toward your goals and you doing the things you need to do, your goals begin to move toward you. If desperation is involved, your goals will run away from you because desperation is like a repellent. As a matter of fact, desperation will cause your faith to wane because you can't have faith that you're going to apprehend something and be desperate at the same time. If you got faith, you've got a peace that this is going to happen, and you can move in that direction. If you're desperate, man, you are grasping for straws, you're kicking and clawing, and you're in a place of desperation, and nobody wants to even do business with a desperate person. You go to sell somebody something and they sense desperation on your part, what they're going to do is they're just not going to do business with you. Okay? And so desperation causes your most noble goals to run from you, which is a leading cause of failure. I also have another sentence here that's going to bear at least some thought, and it says this: you craving can cause you to become a prisoner to your dreams or the object of your desire. So the moment desperation enters into the picture, now you really get in trouble because now the thing that you love and you desire, craving introduces fear and insecurity and all those other things that cancels your moving toward the thing that you're trying to acquire. And so that's what makes craving so dangerous. It's not what you desire, it's how you desire it, if I can say that, okay? And that's very, very important. And so the thing that you love and that you endeavoring for, when craving is involved, actually it moves further and further away from you, because it makes you a prisoner. You become a slave now, captive to your own desires. And if you achieve the thing, it's not going to fit in right context in your life because you've misappropriated value. And while you were worrying and fearful that this ain't never going to happen, I'm never going to get it, you canceled out the life that you have in the present moment right now. And that's what happens. And I've spent too much time on the definition. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the prognosis. If you notice a little pattern here, I normally give a definition, my definition. Then we talk about the prognosis. I said if you go to the doctor and you have a condition, one of the things they're going to tell you is that if you don't do anything, here's what's going to happen. Well, what I want to talk to you about is why and how craving arises to begin with. Okay. And what happens if this runs unchecked, where you and I will wind up a year, 5, 10, 20 years from now. Okay. So, in the prognosis, and this is again is in your notes, the first thing we have is in order for craving to arise, you have to be ignorant of true fulfillment. In other words, if you think if you have this young lady or you can have this man, and if you think that that's going to bring you true happiness, then what you've done is the actual source of true happiness, you're oblivious to it. And so because of that, you're looking for it in other places. You're looking for it somewhere else. Okay. So it's ignorance of true fulfillment. So many people today, in fact, I guess some people say if you don't succeed the first time, try again. And so some people have been married multiple times, okay? Multiple times. And they go in believing and hoping it's going to work. It's the same result because usually there's some craving involved. And then when there's that kind of desperation, it also can lead you to a bad decision for fear you'll be left alone. You don't have anyone. Okay. So ignorance of true fulfillment is a breeding ground for craving to begin to take place. Okay. Ignorance of true fulfillment. Second, the next thing I have on my list, um, craving what we think we need um, can actually be appropriate things viewed out of context. So, your desire for success is a good thing. Your desire for marriage is a good thing. Your your desire uh, for many things are good, but the moment you take them out of their context, what was good in a of itself has become unhealthy because of how you relate to it. Okay? So what really happens then, even good things in your life, you mess them up. Um, you can mess up a good relationship. You can blow it. Okay. uh in your achievements if when you get there you don't have things sorted out properly. So what tends to happen then is that even good things almost don't even matter, and they don't bring the effects that you might really want because you see those out of context. Then what normally happens in the prognosis, you go from ignorance to craving those things to making faulty decisions, to making faulty decisions. Okay. And so what usually happens if you're craving something or someone, what have you, if you're craving, what normally happens is you start making bad decisions. Why? Because the basis of your decisions are your perception on what I gotta have. They're based in desperation. That's not a good place to make decisions. I don't know why I keep talking about relationships tonight, but sometimes I've known people to say, "Well, I'm going to marry her because I don't want to lose her." Or she'll leave if I don't. Well, um, that's problem. That's a problematic way of going into a relationship. If there's not mutual love and mutual trust, you're headed for trouble anyway. But it can lead to faulty decisions. You can go after things in ways that are not appropriate because, again, you're in a place of desperation. So, ignorance of fulfillment is the breeding ground. Um, Craving causes us um, to relate badly to even good things. Then it leads to faulty decisions. And so, I don't know, you really can't take decisions back. And I'm sure many of you tonight would think, man, if I could turn back the hands of time, if I could undo it, you know, but you really can't. So what you can do is make better decisions, okay? But if you don't deal with craving, it's going to keep you on a path of making bad decisions. Now, the next thing that happens, we're doing the prognosis, a person whose desires are not managed at all. They are out of control. Okay. The next thing is disappointment and delusion. Have you ever tried at something over and over and over again, and you fail and you fail and you fail and fail, and you try and fail and you try and fail, and you hang on but it doesn't work out, you keep going but it doesn't work out, a year, two, 5, 10, what happens is eventually you become disappointed as a human being. That's only natural. And then you become delusional in that you start believing nothing's ever going to work out. Maybe some of you feel that way about some things tonight, but I really want to help you out here. Okay, but that's what happens when craving sets you up for disappointment because you work, and when you finally get to where you thought was going to really ring the bell, there's no bells to ring. Okay, then um, the last part of the prognosis I think that I have here is pain and misery. When you're disappointed and then you have delusion, now it just hurts. And so you can't look at your life and it not hurt. You can't look in the mirror and it not hurt. When you think about your past, it hurts. When you look around you, then at that time it looks like everybody else is doing fantastic. Okay? It hurts. And so that makes you miserable. So your whole life now becomes skewed. Many people who divorce do it because of irreconcilable differences, is what they say. And but the pain and misery that's going on in their life, a relationship would not have stood a chance. Couples, let each other off the hook. Let's be fair from tonight on moving forward as we come into this understanding of what craving really is. We have to get this straight, lest it wreck our lives, but it winds up in pain and misery. Can I tell you? Let me say this, and then we're gonna move into the answers. Okay. Um, in order for your life to function properly, listen to me carefully. Your heart, your mind, your mindset, your body, your efforts to achieve, your worldview. Beloved, you have to do that from a standpoint of happiness. Misery detracts everything that you want. Nobody really wants to be around a person who is consistently miserable. Happiness is a requirement. Okay, let me say that you have everything you need, regardless of your external circumstances, to be happy. Happiness is a requirement in order to really move forward and live a quality life. So pain and misery is not really a workable solution. Okay. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat. Now, I know in the program it'll show up here. I'm not sure how to show up everywhere. If I don't respond, I will respond. Okay. It's because I can't see it tonight. So, we're talking about craving. What do we do about that? How do we deal with that? Now, again, tonight, I'm not trying to preach to you. Most of you are believers. You know the scriptures. This is not a reiteration of that. What I want to do is give you practical principles to help you apply what you know so you can go on and do great things, okay? So let's look at the answers. And again, this is on your handout, which you can get at the website, your notes. All right, number one. Here's the remedy for this, and you know what? The remedy is the same always on the first point, and that is present moment awareness. Okay, if you want to learn again more about this, go back and listen to session one. In fact, I think that'll be a really good idea because in the present moment, which simply is this, the present moment is the moment that we live in anyway, that we are oblivious to because our mind is filled with thoughts and we're always running around. We never settle down and let our awareness be, focus on the now. It's in the present moment that your awareness of authentic happiness and fulfillment can really take place. Happiness doesn't come because of the car you drive. In fact, if you're honest about it, car is metal and wires and that kind of thing. And some of them are newer wires, and some of them look better, appealing to the eye, and they appeal to our ego because if I'm driving a really nice car, people look at me and I kind of nod and hold my head up. But if I'm driving something that's kind of beat up a little bit and it's been around for 20, 30 years, I park around back so nobody sees it. But a car is a car. It gets you where you need to go. Happiness is not found in a car. It's not found in a house. Okay? And so it's in the present moment. It's in the now where you will develop the wisdom and the acumen to understand that you've been blessed and gifted with happiness within. Fulfillment comes from within. That's really, really important. That comes in the midst of the present moment, okay? And us not wandering and running to and fro to try to find fixes. That's really, really important. So happiness is in the present moment, but it's in the present moment awareness. It's when you stop and you take a few minutes and you sit and you can close your eyes or open your eyes and you inhale and you don't think about inhaling, but you do it and you feel the cool air coming in and you exhale and you release the warm air. Inhale and you exhale and you do that in your natural pattern and you relax. What that does is that slowly all the stuff in your head that you've been caught in starts to dissipate and you begin to settle down. And then you begin to come aware of what is really inside of you. And that becomes really, really important. That's the first place for dealing with craving. Because what you begin to see is that the things you've been trying to grab or the things you're reaching for and that you're desperate for are actually found any moment in time, in the present moment, in stillness when you're quiet. And that's what happens. You go from when you get quiet, then you move into stillness, which is really a peaceful place. Okay. Just from a really practical standpoint. I know what I'm talking about. I'm goal oriented. I've always been had 50 things to do, reaching and going, but I learned that, in the present moment, that's the thing that was really important. Now, I need to say something else. This is not in your notes. Sorry, I keep adding stuff, but this is what happened when I do it 24 hours ahead of time. You begin to come to the realization that the quality life dynamic, listen to me carefully, let's call it the QLD. The quality life dynamic is inside out and not outside in. You come to the realization that the quality life dynamic is inside out and not outside in. In other words, you begin to realize that you can't take stuff on the outside to make your life. You can't take stuff or people to build you up on the inside. It doesn't work that way. You have to cultivate your inner life, and your inner life helps to create your outer life. When you become in a healthy place, you'll start attracting healthier people. If everybody around you is jacked up, all your friends are jacked up, your 6 husbands was jacked up, or your 10 wives were jacked up, all I'm gonna say is this: that kind of leaves a question: what's really going on inside of you? So the Q life dynamic, or the quality life dynamic, is inside out. Friends, as we talk about this present moment, the most valuable thing you can do is sit and be in that space to touch stillness and then build your life. And then as you study your Bible, as you pray, you do other things, you do it from a standpoint of quietness. You make room in your soul, you make room in your life for the truth and the wisdom that you really want to acquire. Okay. All right. All right, let me move along quickly. So present moment is first the key. uh, if you forget everything else I said through this whole series, and I mean this because I'm giving you information, if you forget everything else, remember to sit, put your keys down, go sit down, or stand, or go for a walk. Walk around your neighborhood, walk through the park, okay? And focus on breathing in and focus on breathing out and enjoying those moments. That is the key to everything that I'm talking about. Everything is kind of built on that. All right. Well, here's what happens now. In present moment awareness, you come to the realization of the true value of external things. So you realize now, you begin to see what the valued things are. In other words, you don't take your poor wife and put the pressure on her and whine for years and years how she's not making you happy, because that's not her job. You have to cultivate your own happiness in the present moment. Her job is to make herself happy. And then guess what? When you two are happy and y'all get together, it's pretty good because you can share happiness, right? Rather than blame each other. The true value of a job or money or what have you. Somebody said years ago that money only magnifies what you already are. Money doesn't change you, it blows you up. So if you was a fool when you were broke, then when you get some money, you just become a big fool and everybody knows it. Okay. It only amplifies. So when you understand the true value of things, it kind of puts everything in context. And guess what? Your goals, you can work toward them patiently. You can have faith as you move toward your future because desperation is not a factor. Okay. So you begin the real in the present moment, you realize where happiness and fulfillment is. Then also you begin to realize the true value of external things. Um, and which kind of leads into the next step. You accept things for what they are. And you do. Um, some people thought that having a child was gonna make them happy. Whoa. Um, it's a joy in being a parent. Don't get me wrong. But parents can't let go because they're still so involved in their children's lives trying to extract happiness. Let those kids go. Okay. You know, get in the present moment. So then what happens is in practicing fulfillment, you enjoy the things of life more. You know, when you're in the present moment and you realize that happiness and fulfillment don't come from external things, man, you can take that old raggedy car and park it around front and you'll be okay. Or you can trade it in and get whatever else you wanted, you're still okay. You're not inflated or deflated because a machine with plastic and metal don't mold you into anything. Practicing fulfillment, okay, it lets you enjoy the things of life more. You can appreciate your spouse or your mate. You can appreciate where you live. You can appreciate even your job. And because you're not looking for your job to make you happy. So you don't spend the day talking about what's wrong there. Okay. You can begin to appreciate what you have in your life. Then the last thing I want to say here is that you begin to align your life with your mission and your purpose. And why do I say that? Because you're not spending your life seeking after things and people. In fact, they come into your life on the basis of what your mission and what your purpose is. And so you can align your life with the things that are most important. You can find your North Star. You can find your compass if you would. You can find the place where your passion and your competence and your opportunities meet and really pursue that. And so you can align with your life with your purpose because you're not chasing everything else. That's really, really important. And what that does is that can help you to live a life that is more fulfilled. Okay. Um, Let me quickly, I'm going to take a little bit of break from the lesson and bring up um, the book. It's the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity. Let me say this. It is not for you, if you're on the verge of a nervous breakdown, this will really help. But it's not necessarily just for that. If you feel like you're doing pretty good, this will help you to make sure you shore things up, or this will help you to make sure you got a good foundation underneath you. It'll be very, very important. This book is, let me pull up a banner for you. And So if you go to the website where you've gotten the notes, and I'll put that up in a minute, but you go to the store, you'll find the 8 Pillars of Lifetime Sanity. It's for sale for $19.99. And you can download it on 2 or 3 devices if you like. What I'd ask you to do, if somebody else wants to buy it, please don't send it to them. There's a little bit of a code of an honor here. Give them the information, let them go purchase it, because the the support that I get to do what I'm doing come from my books and my materials and those things. And so the integrity piece is really, really important. So if you buy it, don't send it out to all your cousins and friends and those things. Tell them about it, get them to go, but this will be a life change, and you will refer to it, I believe, for years to come. In fact, if you're not journaling, this book will help you to begin to journal and kind of write out some things about your life, which is really what you should be doing in today's time. I just want to encourage you. This is a tool. I wrote it not knowing we were facing half the stuff that we will. 6 hour read, but a lifetime of study. I think that you will really, really benefit from it greatly. Okay. And I think once you start it, you won't put it down. Now, um, so there's not any questions in the chat. And I can see that there's a few people on, and I'm sure some of you are going to see this later. The first couple of videos got a couple of hundred views, and the last one got about 100. So I know you guys will be tuning in. But if I can help you in any way, please let me know. And I want you to have good success, and I want things to go well for you. Look, the difference is going to be made in the world because you and I do it. It's because we do this thing together that we're in this thing together. So I want you to really bear that in mind. So next week, we're going to come back and we're going to deal with worry. And boy, we need to talk about that. We've covered the solutions key, fear, pride, and craving. Next week, we cross over the halfway point. There's only 4 more sessions to go. Okay. So let me know if I can help in any way. I appreciate you tuning in. You have a wonderful night. Take good care of yourself. And let me hear from you. Take care. Have a good night.